So I guess I'll start. My name is Gwen Gabe, and I'm the father of Alexis Gabe. I believe most of you are already familiar with our daughter's story and the outcome of our case, so I won't go into details. I'm here today to express my family's full support for this recall initiative. I am one of the organizers and proponents of this movement. While I'm speaking today, I do so not as leader, but as a temporary spokesperson for our group, which was established about a year ago. The families of the victims began meeting, getting to know one another, and ultimately decided to pursue the recall of Diana Becton. We received advice from a recall expert who suggested that without $1 million donor to fund our efforts, we should reconsider filing the petition. This response was disheartening and made us question whether our plans could succeed without significant financial backing. However, our commitment to continue stems from our determination to prevent other families from experiencing what we endured under District Attorney Diana Becton. It is crucial that we take a stand and tell her that her time in office must come to an end. Currently, we don't have $1 million to support this initiative, nor do we have $2 million to hire signature gatherers. But what we possess is our community, our families, the volunteers, and the residents of Contra Costa County who are frustrated with the current situation. In less than 3 hours, we managed to collect 125 signatures for our notice of intention. We have 160 days ahead of us to gather the over 70,000 signatures required. While it might seem improbable to undertake this without financial resources, we are confident that the necessary funds will materialize. Before I invite each proponent to share their story, I want to emphasize that we are ordinary people. We lack the expertise and experience necessary to navigate this recall process effectively. Additionally, we are unable to afford legal representation or specialists for assistance. Therefore, I kindly ask for your understanding and patience as we proceed. It is important to clarify that our actions are not motivated by any personal grievances against Diana Becton. Although we did not achieve justice through her decision not to pursue charges against Alicia Coleman Clark, her recall serves as a significant step toward justice. This action not only seeks to rectify the situation, but also aims to protect other families from being victimized by someone who should be safeguarding victims rather than criminals. Thank you. And I'm gonna ask Carol to go next. They have prepared like a 2-minute speech for just to tell their story a little.
My name is Carol Sherman, and I stand here with my fellow victims for my family and all of Contra Costa County for justice. In 1985, my 82-year-old beloved grandmother was robbed, raped, and beaten into death by one Freddie Lee Taylor. He was apprehended after committing further crimes. He was convicted by a trial jury of murder with special circumstances. He served his time at San Quentin death row. 33 years later, after still being in jail, an appeal in 2017, the DA was given the choice of to retry him or release him. We heard later one attorney was willing to retry. Our family didn't know of this. We heard about it through a newspaper article. The DA's office didn't make any contact with us. Becton did a plea deal on a lesser charge of manslaughter. She released a career criminal with no probation. Our family was heartbroken that we had to find all this out later, figuring that he was going to be in jail for the rest of his life. He traveled to Oklahoma and as of now is in that state. He has re-offended at least 3 times, one brutally. Our family struggled with questions after all of this and asked to meet with DA Becton. From her, we got no answers to the ones we asked. We left feeling more discouraged and concerned for the communities of people Taylor would prey on, especially the elderly and the weak. Smugly, we were told we were only one case. All of us in the county are victims of her total disregard for safety and justice. She let out a brutal attacker who has continued in his ways. We want to prevent that from happening in the future. Thank you.
Would it be possible to spell your name too? When
Yes, ma'am.
say it?
Hi, my name is Stephen Arellano. Last name is spelled Arellano. First name Stephen, Phsephen. Hello and thank you for your support and time. My name is Stephen Arellano, aka the public, because I represent everyone, no matter your politics, sexual identity, or skin color. If Joe Delgado, a known violent criminal, murdered your child, Diana Becton would have treated you the same as she treated my family. On January 22nd, 2022, my son Thomas Arellano was supposed to go to work with me, but I left him sleeping at home. Habitual felon Joe Delgado got a ride to my house from the driver and waited 4 hours in front of my house. At a certain point in time, Gerald stormed into my house and my handicapped girlfriend had to deal with Gerald because Thomas was in the shower. After exiting the shower, Thomas left with Gerald and the driver before I got home from work. Thomas had the driver pick up his girlfriend Katie and asked to be dropped off at a house in Concord. For one reason or another, this enraged Delgado and he hunted down Thomas after about 10 minutes and his girlfriend in the garage of that house. Delgado tried to force Thomas to leave his girlfriend and go with him. Thomas refused and Joe Delgado proceeded to stab him 6 times, which resulted in Thomas's death. The final stab was after Thomas was down. After stabbing my son, Delgado and the driver proceeded to drive directly to my house, where he thought only my girlfriend and her daughter were present. By this time, I had just returned home from work. Delgado knocked on my door, which I answered. He stated that he wanted some stuff in my garage and that Thomas had said that it was okay for him to come over and get the stuff. I opened the garage door and asked Thomas I opened the garage door and was asked by Delgado if I had a splint for his broken finger. I asked my girlfriend to wrap his fingers, and after she was finished, Delgado shook my hand twice. On January 23rd, the next day, is when I found out that Delgado had murdered my son. I called the police and told them that Delgado was using his phone 2 days later. The police arrested him while he had a suitcase and he was on BART, headed for BART in Lafayette. Delgado's regular lenient judge, Marianne O'Malley, was installed to represent him while no investigation was done. In 2015, Judge Marianne O'Malley had sent Gerald Delgado to drug rehab after he pulled a knife on Antioch police officer Tom Smith while out on bail on a third strike charge. And he was still not third strike. To this day, no one has questioned me. The judge and DA did a plea deal without talking to any witness or the family. The DA and Superior Court are an organized crime operation. They have 245 minute orders with him, 80 felonies, 58 dismissed, and 22 guilty. They second striked him, which is a law for nonviolent third strike offenders. They used this law in the murder of my son for the benefit of their friend, Gerald Delgado. My extensive inquiry reveals a profound breach of trust by the District Attorney's Office of Contra Costa County, a body entrusted with safeguarding the public. The wrongful death of my son, Thomas Arellano, underscores a violation of this trust. His life was unjustly taken. Delgado's trespass, subsequent aggression, and his concealed knife are all documented in the police report. His coercive efforts to abduct my son were blatant and unjustifiable. The District Attorney's Office's complicity in Delgado's lenient treatment is further underscored by his prior criminal record. His history of felonies, repeated infractions, and disregard for the law make his light sentencing all the more reprehensible. Judge Marianne O'Malley's involvement in this case, including her leniency toward him in prior instances, further compromises the integrity of the judicial system. Her role in this case is a direct violation of judicial canons 1, 2, and 3 on impartiality, impropriety, and integrity of the judiciary and adherence to the law. Diana Becton herself was judge for Gerald Delgado in 2003, and she lowered a first-degree residential burglary to a non-strike second-degree residential burglary. She needs to be removed and arrested. Thank you very much.
Erica, you can start.
Erica is E-R-I-C-A, Cano, C-A-N-O. My name is Erica Cano, and I am a mother of 4 children who are now without their father. Our youngest, Anthony Jr., was just 13 when his father, Anthony Hernandez, was brutally murdered during my mother's 60th birthday celebration. My mother was also shot that day, along with another close family member, all in front of 4 of our children. Earlier that day, the assailant had been removed from the party, but he returned with his brother, armed with multiple guns, including a Draco. At that moment, my 2-year-old son, a family friend, and I took refuge in the bathroom. Inside, we could hear the chaos unfolding in our home, the sound of gunfire, and the cries of my daughters. I will never forget the look on my 2-year-old son's face. After the shooting ceased, a family member came in and urged me to call 911 for an ambulance. I left my son and the other family member in the bathroom and stepped out to find my ex lying on the floor, unresponsive, and my mother shot in the back, along with another family member who was unconscious. We struggle daily, physically, mentally, and emotionally, clinging to the hope that justice will eventually prevail. Many victims, assailants, and witnesses have either never faced charges or have been released with reduced sentences. Our family, like so many others, is left without justice because Diana Becton is failing to do her job. She does not hold offenders accountable, allowing them a second chance for serious crimes, while all loved ones never get that opportunity. Diana Becton released the assailant after just 3 days in jail, claiming that since his brother was killed in self-defense that night, it was a case of 1 for 1, and therefore no charges would be filed. Meanwhile, the assailant continues to live freely while his mother taunts us daily on her YouTube channel, and my family lives in constant fear. It's time for change, which is why I have joined the recall effort. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Banks, KIMBERLEYBANKS. I'm the mother of Stacy Dwayne Corley II, who was heinously murdered in Walnut Creek while door dashing and trying to live a life and be a positive force in the community and the world. I was assured by the Contra Costa DA's office that they would do everything in their power to fight for my son's life as if he was their own child. But in return, all I received was the most disrespectful, disgusting, and abominable act of nothingness in the form of no fight, no trial, no true charge of murder without the possibility of parole, and no true accountability that directly resulted in the diminishment and the value of my son's life that turned into a facade of courtroom circus and plea deal that was not forewarned or agreed to by me or my family. They might as well, at that point, had issued the death penalty to me, since they chose this murderer's life in their decision headed by Diana Becton. This legal comedy show presented as a victim statement hearing was a life planning event for the murder of my one and only child. Diana Becton's actions and final decision to allow this uncensored plea deal for this monster to be afforded the ability to choose life with the potential to prosper in ways that my son will never be allowed or afforded the opportunity to live out his life's dreams and goals and carry on a legacy in his name. My life now consists of memories, pictures, videos, and memorabilia to keep his existence alive each and every day, so that he is not forgotten after being thrown away, not only by this murderer, but Contra Costa County courts and the DA's office. I live with the torture of his last and final moments of life, and what was he thinking, and why wasn't I there to uphold my God-given promise to protect him? And now my care for him has transformed to caring for a slab of stone where my son's lifeless body now lay in rest 6 feet deep, and where I now count the days to join him, because life no longer carries the same meaning without the one person I had to live for besides God. This has far surpassed what is fair as it relates to the judicial system. It is inhumane and unjust. And at some point, integrity, morality, safety, and accountability must come to the forefront. And it begins with the leader of Contra Costa County's organized mafia, the DA's office, to come to an end. Thank you.
She's actually one of the proponents, Monty Corley, is a Contra Costa resident and is representing her because Kimberly is not a Contra Costa resident. Kelly?
Good morning. My name is Kelly Melton, KELLYMELTON. I'm Allie Schweitzer's aunt. I'm speaking today on behalf of our family. Allie was 20 years old when she was gunned down in Booker T. Park. Allie was funny, kind, and highly intelligent young woman, and would give the shirt off her back to anyone. Her death was a devastating loss to our family, and our lives will never be the same without her. Since her death, it feels like Diana Becton has made it her personal mission to sabotage Allie's case by withholding files so the attorney had to go into court without them, and do it by memory. Made the hearing calendars unavailable to victim advocates, which is a Marcy's Law violation. She withheld hearing notices while the assigned attorney was, she held a short hearing notice while the assigned attorney was out of the country, knowing this. She had a different attorney for almost every hearing for the last 6 years. She withheld Allie's mom's order for restitution for the past 4 years. She's lied under oath about our case. She recommended early release for Allie's killer, despite him beating up younger juveniles, doing drugs, and actively participating in the Manor Boy gang while in custody. When by law, she could have held him until he turned 25. She chose not to. I personally believe that was a personal choice for Diana Becton. I often wonder if this is because Diana's husband has family ties to the Richmond gangs. Becton told Allie's mom that her case is just one case and there's nothing she can do for her, with a grin on her face. She was partially right that day. We have since found out that we are one more family that she's continuously re-victimized with her criminal-like activities. All of the cases that you're hearing today aren't just devastating to the families, they're devastating to our community. And it affects our children and our children's children. With her being soft on crime, it affects everyone in Contra Costa County. We need to stand up and take our communities back. Stop allowing her to destroy our county. The only way we can do this is by signing the recall. Becton ran her campaign on transparency. Then putting a gag order on all the attorneys in the office, making it so they couldn't get community support via media, internet for any of our cases. This has to end. We have to take back our county and get her out of office. And the only way to do that is to sign this recall. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for the opponents, Christine?
I have a lot of questions, but the notice of intent was served, right? So can you talk a little bit about what happens next and what you all have to do to move it forward?
The notice of intent was served to Diana Becton last Monday, March 17th. We chose that day because it's a special day. It was Alexis's birthday. It was our gift to her. When we handed the notice to her, she seemed like she was expecting it. And then we filed it the next day at the elections office. We submitted about 121 signatures and they validated about 103, just a little over 100. We only needed 100 to file it, and so now the elections office is waiting, or Diana Becton has 7 days to respond to the notice of intention, and when the elections office receives it, we have to file a petition. We have to submit a petition, and there's gonna be a few back and forth until they approve it. And the notice of intention will be published, I believe on Wednesday, next Wednesday. It's gonna be out in the paper of all 4 Contra Costa newspapers. So after the elections office receives the answer, then we are gonna file for the petition, because the petition needs to have the response from Diana Becton. And once it's approved, that's the only time we can start gathering signatures. So probably within the next 2 weeks, then we can start gathering signatures.
And do you plan to like, as a group, to kind of go out and get the signatures on your own with family and friends, or how do you plan to do that? And then how many do you need?
So far, we have not, we received, offers from companies that, gather signature, and it's very expensive. I had a conversation with the price recall organizers, and they told me how much it is. I think they paid $15 to $20 per signature. They spent $2 million on the signature gatherers, but as of right now, we're waiting on some top funders to support us. But in the meantime, it's just going to be the community, us, the family, the volunteers. We have quite a few volunteers already who have signed up, and we're just gonna work harder for now until we get the funding that we need.
And how did everyone come together?
We just started meeting, gathering, and we decided, hey, since we're all here, I mean, because we've started this group like a year ago already, but we didn't really start getting serious until a few months ago, and we all decided, I think it's time, because with me especially, her not filing a case against Alicia Coleman Clark, that did it for me. She has to go. It's not because we're trying to seek revenge. No, it's just that she needs to be stopped. I think it's the family you see here. These are not just the ones. We have other families who've sent us an email, reached out to us, that they're also saying, oh, we were also wronged. The DA failed us too, and maybe on our next press conference I'll invite them to, because there's plenty of victims that were not given the justice.
Do you mind if I speak on that? The question about how we all came together? Is that okay? Okay. So I personally was a man on an island all by myself, having been done wrong by the judiciary. And fortunately for me, I heard about a recall group, and I was able to join with them, and I really appreciate what they're doing. And I'm unheard. I've gone through to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and they've nothing but dismissed me. I have civil rights. But the recall group accepted me, and I really appreciate you guys, all of you people, for what you've done. And I just want to mention the recall group has a website with a donate button, and anybody that can donate to us, we would really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Gabe.
Any other questions?
Would it be okay if I asked maybe individually, one or two people, just after we're done? We can do it like individually,
Oh, yeah.
if that's okay.